At 80 years old, Tom Selleck has finally opened up about the truth behind his relationship with James Garner. Born Thomas William Selleck on January 29, 1945 in Detroit, Michigan, he grew up in a working-class family that later moved to Sherman Oaks, California. Life in post-World War II Southern California shaped him, and while his passion was sports, especially basketball, acting wasn't something he originally dreamed of. He attended the University of Southern California on a basketball scholarship, playing for the USC Trojans while studying business administration. But fate had other plans. A drama coach at USC encouraged Selleck to try acting. Soon after, he appeared in commercials, including his now famous Pepsi ads of the 1960s. With his tall frame, rugged charm, and natural charisma, Selleck quickly found himself drawn to the stage and camera. His early years in Hollywood were a mix of struggle and perseverance. Through the late 1960s and 1970s, he took small roles on TV shows like The Dating Game and The Rockford Files. Though minor, these opportunities allowed him to refine his craft and build connections in the industry. One of the most important connections was with James Garner, who would become a mentor and lifelong friend. Selleck's career included near misses as well, most famously when he lost the role of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark due to scheduling conflicts with the show that would make him a household name. Magnum P.I. premiering in 1980, Magnum P.I. defined the decade. With his Hawaiian shirts, Ferrari, and trademark mustache, Selleck became an icon of cool masculinity. The role earned him both an Emmy and a Golden Globe, and even today, Thomas Magnum remains one of television's most enduring characters. He didn't stop at TV. Selleck successfully transitioned into films, starring in the 1987 blockbuster Three Men and a Baby and the 1990 western Quigley Down Under. These projects proved he could balance both comedic and dramatic roles. Later, he reinvented himself once more as Frank Regan in CBS Blue Bloods, beginning in 2010. As the patriarch of a New York police family, Selleck brought gravitas and heart to the role, further cementing his legacy as a television legend. On the personal side, Selleck married model Jacqueline Ray in 1971. During their 11-year marriage, he adopted her young son, Kevin Shepard, raising him as his own. Kevin later found success as a drummer for the rock band Tonic. After their divorce, Selleck married Gilly Joan Mack in 1987, a British actress and dancer he met during a performance of Cats. Together they had a daughter, Hannah, in 1988. Unlike her parents, Hannah pursued a career in competitive equestrian sports, earning respect internationally. The family settled on a 60-acre avocado ranch in Hidden Valley, California, once owned by Dean Martin. Selleck has often spoken about his love for ranch life, saying in interviews that physical labor on the land gives him more satisfaction than any workout in a gym. His grounded, down-to-earth lifestyle has kept him balanced despite decades of Hollywood fame. Now, at 80, Selleck feels it's time to reflect and to finally share what James Garner truly meant to him. Selleck first admired Garner as a boy, watching him on Maverick in the 1950s. Unlike many actors of the time, Garner combined toughness with warmth, humor, and authenticity. To Selleck, Garner wasn't just acting, he was real. Years later, when Selleck starred alongside him in The Rockford Files, Friends, and Full Play, his childhood admiration transformed into deep respect. Nervous at first to meet such a legend, Selleck quickly learned that Garner was humble, warm, and utterly genuine. He treated everyone on set, from directors to crew members, with the same respect. That, Selleck says, taught him more about professionalism than any acting class ever could. Beyond work, Garner became a mentor in life. He wasn't just someone who shared acting tips or gave casual advice. He was a living example of how to survive Hollywood without losing your soul. Garner warned Selleck about the traps of ego, the dangers of chasing fame at the expense of happiness, and the emptiness of measuring success only through money or headlines. For a young actor suddenly thrown into stardom with Magnum P.I., those words weren't just helpful, they were life-saving. Garner had lived through the Hollywood machine long before Selleck rose to fame. He knew the pressure of carrying a hit television series, the endless long days on set, the press obligations, and the constant whispers of executives wanting more ratings, more exposure, more profit. And yet, through it all, Garner never let himself be consumed by it. He made time for his family, protected his marriage to Lois Clark, and refused to let Hollywood dictate the kind of man he was off-screen. Selleck often reflects on those lessons. He remembers the times when Garner would tell him, "Tom, the industry will take as much from you as you're willing to give. If you don't set boundaries, you'll wake up one day and realize you've lost the people who matter most." At the time, Selleck was working long hours on Magnum, PI, sometimes filming 6 days a week under grueling conditions. The money and fame were incredible, but so was the exhaustion. Garner's words rang in his ears: no role, no paycheck, and no burst of publicity was worth losing your integrity or your family. That wisdom shaped Selleck's life in ways fans may never fully realize. When he made the shocking decision to walk away from Magnum, PI at the height of its success, many in Hollywood thought he was making a mistake. Who in their right mind would give up one of the most popular shows on television? But Selleck wasn't just thinking about ratings or contracts. He was thinking about Jilly, the woman who had captured his heart, and Hannah, their young daughter, who deserved a father who was present, not just a celebrity whose face appeared on screens around the world. In that choice, he was following in Garner's footsteps. Garner, too, had turned down roles, walked away from projects, and even battled studios when he felt they were unfair. Because his values came first. It wasn't always easy, but it gave him something far greater than another paycheck: a life built on respect, love, and authenticity. Looking back, Selleck admits how much Garner's friendship shaped him, not only as an actor, but as a man. Hollywood was filled with people who wore masks, who said one thing in interviews and lived another reality behind closed doors. But Garner was consistent. Whether he was sitting across from you in a quiet diner or leading a scene in front of millions of viewers, he was the same person. Humble, funny, and grounded. Selleck remembers countless moments when Garner's humor made the burdens of fame feel lighter. During long shoots, when tempers would flare and exhaustion set in, Garner could cut through the tension with a perfectly timed joke. He had a way of reminding everyone that, at the end of the day, they were lucky to be doing what they loved. Jem could make you laugh at yourself when you needed it most, Selleck recalls. And sometimes, that laugh was the thing that kept you going. But Garner's impact went beyond camaraderie. He modeled a type of manhood that Selleck deeply admired. In an industry often driven by competition and vanity, Garner stood out because he never acted like he was above anyone else. He treated crew members with the same respect as producers, and he never demanded special treatment. He didn't have a phony bone in his body, Selleck has said. For Selleck, who was navigating his own skyrocketing fame, that was a powerful reminder to stay grounded. Garner also offered perspective when Selleck felt overwhelmed by the demands of being the star of a hit series. Fame can be intoxicating but also isolating. Suddenly, every decision you make, every word you say is scrutinized. There were moments when Selleck wondered if he could handle the weight of it all. In those moments, Garner was there. He'd listen, share stories of his own struggles, and then gently remind Selleck that life was bigger than Hollywood. "You can't let this business define you," Garner told him. "Acting is what we do, not who we are." That simple distinction stayed with Selleck. It reminded him that his worth wasn't tied to ratings, awards, or headlines. It was tied to the kind of husband, father, and friend he chose to be. Perhaps the deepest truth Selleck finally admits at 80 is how personally indebted he feels to Garner for shaping the man he aspired to become. Watching Garner balance stardom with his devotion to Lois and their daughter Gigi showed Selleck that it was possible to have both: a successful career and a stable, loving family. That example gave him the courage to choose his own family over the relentless grind of Hollywood, even when others thought he was crazy to step back. Selleck has often said that Garner was more than a mentor, he was a mirror. "When I looked at Jim, I saw the kind of man I wanted to be. He reflects. He made it clear that you don't have to sacrifice kindness for success or your family for fame. You can be both respected and decent. That's a rare thing in this business. As the years passed, their friendship only deepened. They shared laughter, private conversations, and a mutual respect that few outside the industry could truly understand. Both men carried the weight of being television icons, but both also shared the desire to keep their private lives sacred. It was a bond built not on fame, but on shared values. Now, as Selleck reflects on his own legacy, he admits that part of it is inseparable from Garner's. He doesn't see himself as standing alone, but as carrying forward the lessons of a man who helped guide him. I owe him more than I can ever repay, Selleck says quietly. The truth is, James Garner set the standard for everything I've tried to be. And at 80, I can honestly say I'm still trying to live up to it. Those words are not just a tribute, they are a confession. A confession that behind every success Selleck has achieved, behind every choice that kept him grounded and close to his family, was the steady influence of a man who showed him the way. And in telling this truth now, Selleck isn't just honoring Garner's memory. He's passing on the lessons to the next generation. For fans who grew up watching both men on screen, the connection feels almost poetic. James Garner, the charming gambler of Maverick and the wisecracking detective of the Rockford Files, guiding Tom Selleck, the cool and rugged hero of Magnum, P.I., and the steadfast patriarch of Blue Bloods. Two generations of television greatness linked not just by Hollywood, but by friendship, respect, and the simple belief that being a good man matters more than being a famous one. And so, at 80,